very happy to be here with you today. Thank you very much for having me be a part of this. This is a conversation that we love to have every day at work. This is a conversation that needs to be had. We live in an era, as we know, of great have. There is so much wealth that exists in the world these days, and you often hear about that wealth being, at least the majority of it, being in such few numbers of hands. We also live in an era where there is so much need, and we now live in an era where there is so much ability for one to get to the other. It's like we all learned from the great teacher Spider-Man, right? With great power comes great responsibility. And here's where it's at. You know, we live in a time as well where governments are facing tougher and tougher economic realities. And as a result of that, one of the first things that go from a government's budget is international aid, local aid, just the ability to help one another. Tonight we're going to talk to three guys who certainly feel like they have a bigger role to play. Very excited to talk to all three of them. We know that it's going to be Aldo and also Guy Laliberté and DOV CHARNEY all going to be here today. All right, so I'm really looking forward to this conversation. This is a fantastic...
You start with him.
Start with DOV. Well, tell you what, I'm going to throw it out, and whoever wants to take it can take the first question. Just the idea of corporate social responsibility. It's a great phrase now. When did you first become, I guess, aware of the need of a corporation to do this?
I don't know. I must have been under 18. Yeah. I just always wanted to have the business be fair with the people. My first two employees were in Montreal, Namil and Anil. They were from Sri Lanka. They were convention refugees in Montreal. But it was just wanting to work with them and learning about their lives, and it touched me, and I got involved. I think that doing good could also be good for business. That it doesn't, you don't have to consciously decide if it's one way or the other. Mm-hmm. For me, there's one way, and it's to try and make sure that everybody touched by the business process has a positive experience, and that is also the most rewarding financially on the long run.
Is there a difference between a CEO or the head of a company who is socially responsible and the company itself?
I think, that the idea is don't create value that don't exist. They have to be real, and in order for them to last for many, many years and through various generations. It's a gut feeling that you feel, like Dov said, like he didn't know and he was just acting the way, he felt was right.
I feel that every enterprise, every company is a living organism. It has its personality, like any human being. And at the end, I believe that again, at the moment you're living the privilege of having your 3 meals a day and your glass of water to feed you. Everything is usually, I believe, a gift from life. And at the end, I think it's within the responsibility of any corporation to integrate in their business model the commitment to social engagement. We're not a majority, we're truly a big minority, and this is what I believe in.
Can you put enough plan into place to ensure that it continues, that your vision continues to go down that road?
I think it has to be put in the DNA of the company. Once you establish your mission, values, anybody who take over have to somewhere respect what you had put in place, what is the values and the mission. And if you integrate right at the beginning, it should be carried over, unless somebody is really not sensitive to what the origin of the company is.
There's going to be cycles in the economy for 500 years forward. But the idea of integrating social responsibility can be also profitable. I say self-interest wins. It can feed into the corporation's self-interest if there's a proper business design.
I like to bring it to the individual. When you give yourself as an individual, you feel good, no? George, do you feel good when you give?
Yeah. If I'm answering honestly, I try not to think about it as it relates to me. I just think that this is my job as a human being. So
exactly.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm doing my part. But
exactly. You're doing your part.
Yeah.
So, like in our case, or in the case of a corporation, giving, you do it because everybody in the corporation, in the company feels good knowing that you're helping the poor or you're helping, for a certain cause, and it has a certain meaning. So the team per se feels good about themselves as an individual, and the company feels good.
When you got involved in the AIDS discussion.
Yeah.
Nobody was doing it. There's a handful of companies. Kenneth Cole was early, but you guys were early.
Yeah.
They're a pioneer.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a very controversial decision at the time. Why did you get involved?
Basically, it was really an accident, to be very honest with you. It was an accident in the sense that we were a team of buyers, and basically one of them, André Letard, that was 22, 23 years old, died of AIDS. And we looked at each other, you know, the 3, 4 of us, and we said, what are we doing? And we said, we have to do something for him. So we went to McGill. We got, you know, a professor to write something about, you know, AIDS. And we distributed the pamphlet in the store telling the population and basically every single customer coming in our store, hey, you should be aware of that, you know, that terrible sickness. And the reaction of the public was very negative. I mean, a lot of them, you know, they said, forget it, you know, I'm not shopping, you know, with, you know, in that store. And we have to make a decision. And fortunately, we made the right decision. We said, you know, forget about, you know, the negative comment from this section of the population. We're just going to continue our work, and it paid off.
And at the end, who's right or wrong? As long as, you know, because if his belief is as strong or have the same weight as my belief if you were putting in weight. So at the end, it's not about who's right or who's wrong.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, being in action. And this is our responsibility. And this is what really, for me, comes down. It is an obligation. And some are activists, some are more smooth, some are, you know, do it with humor. All the ways are good. Yeah. It's just a question of how you personalize your message and your engagement and where you feel good in the way that you're doing it.
You know, do you think business leaders have changed over the years?
We have access now to knowledge.
Yeah.
And we could share it with the network, which is so fast. So, but there's the consciousness fight of evil and good, because at the end, the fundamental of capitalism doesn't nurture that part of human beings. So obviously, there's somewhere in time that a certain reset button will have to be pushed, because if we keep going like that, the mathematics doesn't add up as a global community.
I understand that it's going to take time, but can you visualize a society, you know, like the one we living right now, where you have people, you know, demonstrating in the street and Wall Street, you know, people standing? I mean, that's not sustainable for the next 20 years.
Exactly what I'm saying.
So you need changes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Mr. B. Guy Lalabote and DOV CHARNEY. Thank you very much.
What a pleasure.